Brandon Boston, are you going to show up to a single game this season? What's good, y'all? Hope you're having a blessed day. As some of you may or may not know, BJ Boston and Sharife Cooper played today, Auburn versus Kentucky, and it was insane, and we're going to talk all about it. So if you're new to this channel, do all that nice stuff. And without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Where do I even begin to start with this? Well, first things first, if you didn't get a chance to watch this game, I'm just going to be honest, you didn't miss much. This was an old school, very sluggish game, and the first half was a disaster for both teams. At one point in time in the game, it was 2-2 with 13 minutes to go in the first half, and then under the 10-minute mark, Auburn only had 8 points. To sum up the first half for both teams, it was just straight up bad, but for Auburn it was much worse, and Kentucky could have used that to their advantage and got an even bigger lead. As much as we all love Sharife, I do gotta critique him. He had an awful first half. He was 0 for 8 from the field and even struggled at the free throw line. One big flaw in his game that he needs to fix before the season even ends is that he leans back on his free throws and three-pointers, and that makes him very inconsistent. The only bright side from the first half, ironically, was Brandon Boston. He played okay. He made a shot here and there, and he was guarding Sharife Cooper and holding him under control. Do not get me wrong, Boston was not balling out in the first half. He was just okay at best. I don't know what it is about him. The sports commentators were saying the exact same thing, but it'll be a 3-on-1 and he just ducks his head and drives into the paint, and in high school that worked, but not at the next level. He takes 2 to 3 shots per game like that and they're never going to go in, so he needs to stop. That's all there's really to say about the first half. If you was an Auburn fan, even though you played terrible, you had to be feeling good going into halftime only down by 4. Vice versa, if you were a Kentucky fan, you had to be feeling terrible because Auburn played the worst they could possibly play and you were only winning by 4. The only good thing for Kentucky throughout this entire game, not just the first half, was Allen, who's the backup guard, who's not even supposed to be playing this season, but he's getting meaningful minutes because of how poor the play has been by everyone else. Also, to go along with Allen, another player who comes off the bench who had the best game out of them all, some will say, was the Toppin kid who's a forward. He went 3 for 4 from the field and had 10 points. Here's the difference between Sharife Cooper and Brandon Boston. Sharife went 0 for 8 from the field in the first half. It was terrible shooting wise, but he was still making an impact on his team passing wise. He's not a one-dimensional player. He does other things good, so if he's not scoring, like today for example, he's still a playmaker. For Boston, if he's not scoring, it's almost like he's irrelevant on the offensive end. And I'm not giving Cooper a pass for his offensive shooting performance in the first half because, like I said, it was straight up terrible / bad, whatever you want to call it. All I'm saying is that he did help his team in other ways. I'm sure that Kentucky fans would even vouch for me that BJ Boston does not do that. The second half was slightly a different story, but it still wasn't a lot of offensive fireworks. The player of the game without a doubt was Allen Flanigan, or you could even make a case and say it was Cooper, but Flanigan gave Auburn a huge spark shooting wise and on the offensive end. He went 6 for 14 from the field and had 21 points. I'm going to read you off Sharife Cooper's stats and then I'm going to talk about him. He went 3 for 13 from the field, 0 for 5 on the 3-point line, had 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 0 fouls, and 11 points in total. When you see those stats, you think that's not good and he had a bad game, but that's a perfect example of stats on everything. You gotta watch the games and you gotta pay attention to the film. Although 3 for 13 is bad, he was getting to the free throw line, got points there, and he also had 8 big assists. I think it goes without being said, Sharife Cooper is not only the best passer in the SEC, but probably the best passer in the country. His vision is on another level. He sees stuff before it even happens. Now, with that being said, let's look at BJ Boston's stats. Brandon played 35 minutes this game, which is the entire game almost, went 2 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 on 3-pointers, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 fouls, and 5 points. I said this last time talking about him, I don't mind the terrible shooting. The 2 for 9, that's not what I'm mad about. What I'm mad about is this right here, and it's why Sharife is way better than him. He's not an impact player out there, and it has nothing to do with him being 2 for 9. When Boston catches the ball, no team fears him right now. For example, in today's game, he missed 2 straight shots, then on the next possession, on a fast break, it was 4-on-1, I believe, he had a wide open 3 but refused to shoot it because he didn't want to miss another shot, and Coach Calipari yelled at him. It doesn't matter if you miss 10 or 20 straight shots, you gotta be confident, and he doesn't have that confidence or swagger. Vice versa, on the other hand, Sharife Cooper had a costly turnover. He tried to throw a pass with his left hand, and it was just a terrible pass. Kentucky scored and cut it to a 2-point game late in the game. Then on the next possession, unbelievably, he throws a left-handed lob alley-oop and they dunk it and go up by 4. That's a perfect case of their 2 seasons. One player has confidence even when they're not playing good, and BJ Boston doesn't. If you play 35 minutes a game, I don't care what level you're at. If you're a shooting guard or forward and you only score 5 points, there's something wrong with that. Sharife played 34 minutes, but at least he had 11 points and 8 assists. I think in total, Sharife wound up accounting for at least 30-something points, so yeah, there you go. Boston only had 5 points and 1 assist, so he could have only totaled for 8. I don't know what Coach Cal's trying to do with Boston, if he's trying to get his confidence up or what, but they need to start playing Dante Allen way more. He's a threat out there. When he catches the ball, he's going to shoot it if he's open, and he's going to make it. He's having a better season for Kentucky so far, so he needs to replace BJ Boston. That's enough for Boston. We all get it. He's just playing subpar. Let's talk about the other players. This was the starting 5 points for this game. Jackson, 2. Sar, 6. Askew, 5. Boston, 5. And Mintz, 11. If you only have one starter scoring over 10 points and it's 11, you're not going to win many games. Here's the problem. Look at Kentucky's bench. The bench players had 10, 4, 8, and 8. So your bench players were outplaying your starters. From the field for Kentucky, it wasn't that bad. They shot 40% from the field in general, and for 3-pointers, they shot 24%. And you may think that's bad, but for Kentucky, I think that's one of their best shooting performances this year. When it was all said and done, they actually outshot Auburn. Auburn was 38% from the field and 20% behind 3-point land. The starters for Auburn had 6, 7, 21, 11, and 4, and that 21 what gave them that boost. Auburn didn't get much off the bench, but they did get valuable minutes from Cambridge. He had 13 points. Right now, Kentucky is sitting at 4-8, and I don't know what to think about them. I thought they were going to turn things around, but that's not going to happen. And I'm not even going to say that's a hot take. I'm just saying that straight up. For Auburn, things are turning around, and the main reason for that is because if you got Sharife Cooper on your team, you got a chance to win any game. They're sitting at 8-6, and one of their other good freshmen, known as Justin Powell, isn't even playing. I don't think Auburn's a scary team, and I'm not going to say you don't want to play them, but they're going to be an above average team in the SEC. In the first half, unbelievably, Brandon Boston outperformed Sharife, but that's only due to the fact that Sharife had a complete trash first half. When it was all said and done though, Sharife Cooper, he won this matchup and it was not close. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this game. But with all this being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.